Alright guys, so here we are with our first night round of Mage Knight. So the only real difference between night and day is that you can use black mana now and you cannot use gold. Other differences is that forests are now harder to move through. So their move value got bumped up from this 3 you see here to this 5. However, what makes up for it is that deserts have decreased from the hot 5 in the sun to the cooler 3 at night. So the only thing you guys didn't see me do was shuffle both these decks and take off this command token so that he's available for use again this round. So the first thing I'm going to do, draw up to my hand of 5, which is something actually I didn't point out. So flipping over that command token for my second level up, it not only gave me an extra unit that I can have under my command, but also my shield is now stronger, right? So it used to be 2, and now it's 3. So now for each wound I take, I can reduce the attack by 3 physical attacks, of course, if it, or sorry, by 3 attacks period. It doesn't matter if it's physical, fire, or what. I get to reduce it by 3. So that's helpful. So here's my starting hand, and so I've got a bit of attack, bit of influence, crystallize, a draw, and a touch of movement. So I know exactly what I'm up against if I move on to that space. And just having a look over here, I get to take one of these tactic cards, and the one I'm tempted of is take any card and put it in your hand, because I could really use a second attack or a block. So the card I'm thinking of is the ice block, the ice attack one, and I'd be using it for its ice attack ability to bring his armor from 4 down to 2. The reason I'm using it for his ice attack ability is that I have a 2 ice block here to go up against his 3 fire attacks. So I don't need to generate 2 more block, which I could do by playing these 2 cards, or not these 2, sorry. These 2 cards sideways. Then for attack I'd have 4 from this with a powered up. No! I don't have the right color. Okay. Okay. So that was all a bit abstract, maybe. Okay, shoot, so I'll take a gamble with that. Okay. So when you take this, shuffle up to 5 cards back into your hand. Now we'll do rerolling mana die would be helpful, especially when you're by yourself, right? So you only have 3 dice to access, and if one of those turn gold at night, it's gone for the rest of the round. So it is a good card. I am going to take 5 though, preparation. Another one of my favorites is 6, which is at the start of every turn, you put a card face down underneath this tactic card, until eventually, instead of doing that, you can add those cards to your hand, having just a huge hand one turn. Now, I didn't pull it out, did I? I took card number 5, there it is. So I'm going to get to search my deck, and I'm just going to grab one at random here for the dummy player. So he'll be going first, and this is an immediate effect, and so I'll discard both. And again, the effect, I'm going to get to search my deck for 1 card. The card I'm looking for is that ice blocker, ice attack. The remainder of these can go. So these are from the day round. These will go on the bottom, and I'll have the night on top, just to help me remember that it is in fact nighttime. Okay. So I'm looking for this card here, and that's it, really. So because I've seen a few cards, I'm just going to cut the deck a bunch of times, trying to forget them. Alright, and that should do it. Won't make you guys wait anymore. So that was my 1 card I grabbed, and because I grabbed Tactic card 5 and dummy player grabbed Tactic card 1, he's going to go first. So it's 4 crystals, but it's still 3 cards. What speeds it up is the fact that if I get a green card now, I'm burning 2 additional instead of 1 additional, as is the case with the white. Okay, so I have 6 cards up and ready for use, and I'm going to try and perform. I'm going to try and perform this this attack. Did I need that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so that's what we're going to do.
Get out of there.
Sorry about that. So the first thing I'm going to do, just because I still don't think this is doable with what I have. Nice attack 2, and then I'm going to spend this with a green mana. Sorry. Move that, so green mana, and I'm going to draw 2 cards. Now because this is new information, that mana is spent. Is that the way I want to spend my mana? Yeah. So that mana is spent. So I do get 2 cards, great, and so this has become very doable now. So my mana from the source has been spent, and also that card has been spent. So I'll play this with this sideways, giving me 3 movement, which at night is enough to move into a desert space. A reminder, you can't attack Keeps or Mage Towers adjacently, you have to step on them. So now I've engaged an attack. So as soon as you engage in an attack, you move your reputation down 1 if you're attacking a keep, a tower, a castle, or castle's 2. But if you're attacking something, it's where it's a building, your reputation's going down just because they were happy, you know, they weren't bothering anyone, unlike the rampaging enemies where if villagers would walk adjacent, they would attack. So now we've commenced combat, so all these cards have been spent. And I get to do sieged attacks only because he's in a tower, and of course, I don't have sieged attacks. So now it's over to his turn, and he's going to try to attack me with 3, and if I don't block it, it's going through as brutal. Now it is fire attack, so only ice blocks will be effective. And so I have 2 ice block, which will bring his fire attack down to 1 fire attack. Now 1 fire attack, I will use 2 regular block to deal with that. Because it's fire, I do need double, and so 2 block is just enough. And so that's enough to stop his attack. Keeping in mind that the attacks need to be fully blocked, otherwise they fully go through. And so I've blocked him, and now finally it's my turn to attack. So he's got a defense of 4. The first thing I'm going to do is use this ice attack to do 2 damage. And that's 2 direct damage, 2 real damage, because it's an ice attack. And he's not ice resistant, and so his armor has been reduced to 2. I'm then going to play this attack, bringing his armor down to 1, and then I'm going to have to spend these 2 influences to bring his armor down to 0. So as you can see, it's a very tough opponent. I burned through a lot of good cards. I would have liked to have held on to these influence cards, but it is a mage tower, and so it's also a tough thing to defeat, so it's not supposed to be easy. So I've spent all these cards, so I'll reroll this die, put it back to the source. So a green there to add to the 2 blues. And I'll stack all these nicely. And this will get flipped back up. And now, because I conquered a mage tower, I'm going to throw a shield icon, and that'll give me points at the end of the game. So each any sites that you conquer, so a mage tower, a keep, monastery, dungeon, all of those are considered sites. So in this case, it's a tower. There's adventure sites, and then your buildings, and at the end of the game, they give you additional fame points. Okay, so that's step 1. Step 2, I'm just going to count the fame from this guy. So it's going to be 5 fame, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, enough to level up. And I'll do that in a second. Now the big perk that you get from conquering a mage tower is that you get one of these great rewards. So I have that fire block, and then I have this fire attack or fire block. I do plan on successfully blocking people, only because it's this character's ability. He's very good at defense, and so I'm going to cater to that, and I'm going to choose to take the fire block fire attack combo. And I'll put that face down here. This will shift down, and this will turn over, revealing target enemy lose all fortification and resistance and ranged attack too. So you can imagine how that would have been helpful against an enemy there who had physical and fire resistance, requiring a lot of attack to bring him down to 0. And also losing fortification means you could use ranged attack, and this card itself gives you a ranged attack too. So I don't need I think it's agility to give me another ranged attack. Now the other thing that happened this turn is I leveled up. So I'm going to reveal 2 new skill tokens, and I'm going to get to choose among these 4. So this, I flip over this once per round, and I get 2 additional cards and a blue mana token. This one here is 2 attack or 2 ice attack, and that's the card that I'm going to take. And that can be used multiple times in a round. And then the last perk is that I get one of these really powerful cards, and I'm going to be taking gain a blue crystal. That'll go, again, at the top of my D deck, and so I'll be drawing it next turn. I replenish the advanced actions, and I'm done leveling up. And that's it for the Mage Tower, so we dealt with that quite well. The other thing I can do in Mage Towers is, I can't do it this turn because I attack, but next turn I could spend, I believe it's 7 influence, plus mana of the card of the spell I want to pick up to gain a spell. So if I spent 7 influence and spent a red mana, I could take this spell and add it to either the top of my D deck or my hand. I'm just gonna have a look here. Can be bought. I'm gonna say top of your deck. It's always top of your deck. Cool. Alright, so again, these reference cards tell you everything, right? And so I know the game well enough that I didn't need it for the one revealed in While Unconquered. So it's saying here, but if you read it, it has everything, right? You place it face down, and if in the daytime a player goes adjacent to it, you reveal it. If you assault it, you get reputation number -1. But if you successfully win, then you place a shield marker on it, and you get a spell. And then I just referenced it here to confirm that it is 7 influence and a mana to gain a spell to the top of your deck. So all the information you need is held on about 7 cards, which is really cool. However, I wouldn't say that you could pass up on the rule book. It is just a reference. So here I'm drawing back up to my hand of 5, so I didn't get to flip a shield for that level up. Instead I got this advanced action and this very useful new skill. 4, 5, and before I take my turn, it's Noroas's turn. So he's going to flip over 3 cards for his second turn. And he has a white here, so it'll be 2 more cards, unfortunately. Okay, so looking at where I am in a Mage Tower, I have some influence I can use. Actually, I have a lot if I power it up with this card. And so I could buy that white spell if I spent this white crystal, which would be cool. I could also buy the Guardian Golems, and what's cool about them is that suppose an attack does go through, so it goes through at full. The first option that you're allowed to do, I haven't let that happen, but you're allowed to assign damage to your units. And again, so 1 wound gives the shield amount, but you can only do 1 wound per unit. So in this case, if I gave a wound to the Herbalist, the attack would drop by 2, and then I could continue to take wounds into my hand until the attack's at 0. Now, if they have physical resistance, they get 1 free assigning. So for instance, this guardsman, if he were to attack, because it's a physical attack, if I were to go to the assign damage phase, I could assign that damage to my Guardian Golems, and because they're physically resistant, the first set of 3 won't cause them to take a wound. Now, had that attack been 4, the first set of 3 defense against a physical attack of 4 would be free, but then I'd have to take a wound to do the next set of 3, and because he's wounded, that's all he can do. So it takes at least 4 damage here to get past the golem's physical resistance. And so that's unique to units, right? It behaves very differently from attackers. So I'm looking at him mainly for his block abilities, which are cool. He's not very strong though, and he is a level 2. This is only helpful really for the start of the game. I wish I could get these Savage Monks. Attack 3 and block 3 at any point is always very useful. And then of course my last option is to grab one of these spell cards. So what we're going to do, how I'm generating this influence, just to give you guys an idea. I'm going to spend green here to give this stronger effect +2, putting me at influence 7 here, plus my reputation, influence 8. And so I could grab a spell if I paid a mana of the appropriate color, or I could grab a new unit. I'm going to grab a unit only because I don't want to, I have very good cards here, but it's also the only real cards that I have right now. So something else I'm going to do before I do that, I'm going to play this just to gain a blue crystal. Something simple. Gain a blue crystal, and then I will play this to recruit the Guardian's Golems, who are very useful when it comes down to blocking. Roll this die. It's sun, and again, because we're at night, gold mana cannot be used. This is spent, and that was interaction, so that's all I can do with my turn. And then something else, sorry. This card, at the end of your turn, reputation -1, and so this +1 bonus I was getting will no longer be happening. So 2, and again, you can only do that type of stuff on a conquered mage tower, which makes sense, because there's an enemy there otherwise. Excuse me. Okay, Norwas's turn. He's going to flip over 3 cards. We have a blue on top, no blue crystals, everything's a-okay. Now over here, we got exactly what we want. I want a lot of movement to get out of this space and to start revealing some more tiles. And so this is an ideal draw. So looking at the source, we only have blue dice there, which can only be used on this Guardian Golem, unfortunately. So what... Okay. Let's start off by just trying to move a lot. Move 2. Move 4. Which isn't as much movement as I wish I could get. I can get some from here. Why don't we do that? Okay, unfortunately, instead what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be spending one of my hard-earned crystals to take any mana die from the source and set it to a color. Now I'm going to grab this gold one because it's unusable. I'm going to set to red, and we're going to get 2 red mana tokens. I'm going to use 1 here on movement, and then hopefully I'll be able to use the other one to block or something. Again, that's not committed though. All I'm using it for right now is to get 5 movement points. And to do that, I'll put this sideways. Or do I just spend it all on movement? So if I choose to send this card sideways, then I can have just a lot of movement to run around. I would really like to use this though to try and kill an enemy. Okay, so we won't do that. So here, the stronger ability, discard another card. Unfortunately, it's going to be Swiftness. And get move 5, blah, blah, blah. We're interested in move 5. So at night, deserts are 3. 1, 2, 3. So I still have 2 left, which is enough to reveal a map tile right here. So we'll slide that in. We need a new enemy marker. Face up, even though it's night. And then for revealing this tile at all, I'm going to get +1 reputation. Now the other thing that's special about monasteries, besides being finally able to recruit savage monks, the other thing that's special is that you can also buy advanced actions. But you can't buy these advanced actions. You get a separate pile that you'll be adding to your unit offer. So that's the one in this case that you can buy. And for each additional monastery, you do that same thing where you add an advanced action, and any of those actions can be bought from any monastery. Okay, so that's 5 movements so far. And And as much as I wanted to use this fire block, fire attack, I don't think I'm going to be able to. And so I definitely should have had that sideways. So instead what I'm going to do is move 1, 2, 3, and that will be enough to put me on this blue mining source. So this, I didn't use this red, unfortunately, and so it is spent though. It is spent though. And actually the last thing before I end my turn, so I've done a lot of movement here, right? All of these have been spent on movement, but believe it or not, I can actually take this rampaging enemy just with this and my units. And so I'm going to choose to engage him in a combat for my action so that I don't have to waste next turn fighting a very easy unit. What's he called? Is he a prowler? No, he's got fortification. Diggers, right, so he digs his way into a defense. So he's fortified, so range attacks don't work, and so I don't have any ranged or sieged attacks anyways, or ranged attacks, but no sieged attacks, so I can't attack him, so he attacks me with 3. I block that with this 3 shield. It's then my turn to attack. I get 2 attack from this, then I'll get 2 more from my golems. And so that's enough to take him down, and so I'll get the 2 fame and the 1 reputation. Good. So I feel a bit better about that. Again, I still wasted this possible mana, and I used up a crystal unfortunately, but at least now I have a red die that I can use for fighting. And these guys here were all used up. So here we go, 5 new cards. And then we'll do Norwas's turn. 1, 2, 3. And that's actually all the cards I have. Now, the other thing, I also ended my turn on a blue magical, not magical glade, sorry, on a blue crystal mining source. And so I'll take this blue here and add it to this pile. Norwas's turn, he's going to flip over 3. 1, 2, 3. Red, no red crystal, so it'll stop there. And I have a lot of movement. So unfortunately I'm not going to be able to generate the influence to get Savage Monks, because at most putting me sideways, right, you got 3 and I still have to get there. And so my new plan will just be to reveal some map. So I'm going to use this blue here on stamina, because I'm about to reveal new information. This is going to be locked in. I won't be able to go back and change that if, say, I wanted to use the mana on something else. So this will click in nice like that. And here we have some new stuff. So first off, we'll grab our rampaging orc over here. Here we go, this is a prowler. 3 and 4, right? Yeah, so that's a prowler. And then here is a, what is that called? A monster den. So what you do is you fight one of these enemies here. And if you win, then you get to roll a mana die. You'll remember which card it is, so if I were to take this red, you roll it twice, and then whichever cards you get those crystals to your inventory. Now, you can't actually have gold or black crystals in your inventory, so if you roll gold, you get to choose the color that you get to your inventory, and obviously you can't choose gold or black. Then if it's black, you get 1 fame instead of a crystal. So it's a good thing to do if you think you can win. In my situation right now, I've got at most 3 attack, 4, 5 attack, 6, 7 attack. So, you know what, I could do it. I think I could do it. That's what we're going to be trying to do. So I've used 2 to reveal that tower, I got my reputation, and now I still have 2 movement left. Still have 2 movement left, so I have to decide right now, because I would have to use this to move, to put me at 4 movement, because the space requires 3. Then I could choose to enter the monster den. The reason why I'm hesitant is because I'm on a blue mining source, so I could just chill out here for the rest of my days and be happy. I could also move over to this red mining source instead, so walking on an adventure site, such as this monster den, which is the first one we've seen, means that you don't actually have to go in. You can just walk over it. So I have 2 left, plus this puts me at 4, and if I were to spend this, I could have 6, and just spend a turn on that, gaining a red crystal. And the reason why I'd only get a turn is because my hand would be empty. Once your hand's empty and you have no more cards in your D-deck, you're actually forced to call end of round. So it could get me 1 crystal, or I could try and do the monster den. I know you guys want action, so that's what we're going to do. I might be throwing away this going very well opening scenario to do this. So I have 2 movement left, plus this 2 movement is enough to put me here. And I'm going to choose to enter the monster den. So the reason why I'm not freaking out is because I can always assign damage to my units. And then I also have this herbalist who can actually heal. So very practical if you think you're about to get destroyed by a monster. So here we go. On that note, okay. So this is going to be doable in terms of attack, but we have a new symbol here. So this symbol is paralysis. So what's paralysis mean, Andrew? Well, it means if the attack goes through, you're going to take your wounds, and then you're going to throw away any cards that aren't wound cards, meaning you don't get a chance to attack back. Very, very tricky stuff. We'll just assign it to a unit then. Well, how paralysis affects a unit is that, so in this case we have 6 attack. So if I were to put it up against this unit, he would reduce the attack by 2, and rather than take a wound, he would just be destroyed. Okay, so he does get to reduce the attack by 2, but paralysis just kills units. They're not mage gods like we are, and so they'll actually just perish. However, that might be worthwhile. My alternative plan, so here's what I'm thinking. I only need to do 4 damage to him. And so how we can do that is we get 2 from here. 1, 2. Then we can get 3 from here if we use a crystal, because we've already used our mana from the source. 1, 2, 3. So there we have 5 attack, which is good. Now to deal with his 6 attack, we can go 1, 2, 3 from this, and then I'm going to use the Herbalist's ability, ready a level 1 or 2 unit. Here we have a level 2 unit. So I'll use this to have him readied. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to power up his ice block. The reason why I'm doing ice block is just because a regular block of 2 just isn't enough, and blue crystals are all I have. And so an ice block of 4 plus a defense here of 3 puts me at 7. And there's no type attached to that attack. And so ice block is just as effective as regular block. And so 6 up against 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the attack's not going through. And now ranged attack, this is something that hasn't happened. So I didn't have enough range attack to kill him right away. However, ranged attack can be used as regular attack, and so that's what I'm going to do here. So rather than ranged, just attack 3. And now had it been ranged fire attack, it could be used just as fire attack 3. In this case though, attack 3 plus my attack 2 puts me at attack 5, and enough to destroy this enemy. So I of course get the 5 fame, so we'll do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's an adventure site, reputation stays neutral, and then I'm going to roll, this die has to go back, actually let's do this one. So red died when I return it, but for now, we'll roll it twice, so I'll get a green crystal, along with a blue crystal. And you might be thinking like, hey, you know, you spent 2 crystals to actually do that attack, you know, is that worthwhile? Well, you have to consider the fame that I got from killing the monster, and also the additional fame that I'll be getting at the end of the game for conquering an adventure site. I'll admit that that's not one of the better adventure sites, but I mean, I did it without taking a wound, and I broke even on my crystals. So basically I decided to get 6 fame, so 5 from the monster, and then I'm going to get an additional 1 or 2, it actually says right here, an additional adventure sites, an additional 1 for taking that adventure site. So 6 fame, and I broke even on crystals rather than taking 1 crystal, and to me that's worthwhile. If you can trade 1 crystal for 6 fame, you do it. And so this card's spent as well. This card's going to be returned as red, because that was just the one we were rolling to see what crystals we got. And we'll roll this one and return to the source as red. So that's all add to the discard pile. And now over here we have Neuroas's turn. 1, 2, 3. So he has a white, but he can't draw anymore. And now my turn. I don't have any cards in my deep deck, no cards in my hand, and so I am forced to call end of round. So Neuras gets one last turn. He doesn't have any cards, so he doesn't do anything, and that brings us to the end of the round. So once again, end of round, what you do, look at the bottom card in the spell, green colored, so we're going to add a green crystal here to Neuras' deck, and then we'll bury this card at the bottom. I'll do that off camera. We'll slide these cards down, add this new card at top, very good card. Armors get reduced by 3, or all enemies get reduced by 2. All enemies, yes, at some points we will end up fighting multiple enemies. Now, unfortunately, this is something I didn't think of. He's actually gaining a green card, which increases the likeliness that he's going to burn through 6 cards per turn rather than just 3. So that's not a good thing. Now, if you're playing with friends, rather than doing this dummy player refresh, all you do is get rid of the bottom cards, put them underneath the decks, rather than giving anybody crystals. Also refresh this unit offer, flip this over to Sun, and here we go with the last round of the game, so I'll bring you guys back for that. Thanks for watching.